tiny. It's this whole other vibe. And yeah, here we are.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's wild to me.
Welcome back to Muse on the Mic. I'm Riley.
And I'm Emily. Thanks everybody for joining us on another awesome episode here at Muse on the Mic. I'm so excited for our episode today because we're talking about our favorite thing.
We
Riley,
are.
what heck are we getting into today?
We're talking about you boys, your penises, and how do you measure up? Does size matter as much as I think most guys think it does? Hmm.
You know, the boys sometimes shoot themselves in the foot, don't they?
Mhm.
Because
Totally.
there's different aspects that matter to us, that matter to them, that their ego cares about, and so on. It's so interesting to me
Yeah.
because there is an endless combination of size to girth to balls to head to foreskin ratios all over the planet. And the fact that it's compared is just crazy. It's crazy. I mean, it's as crazy as comparing like how people look. We all look different.
Yeah.
Like, let's just embrace what we've got. And I think
Yeah.
this is the perfect way to really explain that it might actually ease some anxiety for some potential customers of either
Mhm.
ours or any place around the world that entertains sex work. So
Yeah.
this one, if I remember correctly, it was a DM, I think, instead of an email. And it was a customer asking if he was still welcome, even if he was less endowed. And I almost like sat down because I was like, oh no, of course you're
No, that's
welcome. Like,
heartbreaking.
right? What a horrible thing to think because of
Yeah.
course you're welcome. And yet you're not more welcome in terms of like a oh sympathy aspect. And
Yeah.
yet at the same time, I'm thinking of when I was working in the rooms, big, huge, giant, like porno sized penises scared the crap out of me because it's so much work.
Like
Like
the
it is a
two-hander.
weighted muscle, some heavy lifting.
Listen, guys, it's a real thing. Those right-handed girls out there that their right arm flexes a little different. Sometimes it is a lot of work.
The muscle tone of a rub and tugger is absolutely different in the shoulder range. You end up with a little carpal tunnel on one side, a really buff forearm
Right.
side, and a shoulder with a hell of a lot more stamina. And as soon as you try to switch it up in one of those big penis marathon type sessions, you realize how useless your non dominant is because it's tired in 2.2 seconds and you're
Yeah.
back to the other one. Heartbeat. These are hilarious. The muscle memory.
But his question was more so to do with our milking tables, was it not?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And that was where the conversation went. I'm so silly. I get off on these like hilarious tangents because it's funny. It's true. So not only was he like, am I still welcome? But he was like, can I participate in using the milking tables?
Mhm.
And it immediately, the flashbacks happened to when you and I were kind of chatting with our bed designer. Is that what
Okay.
he's called? Whatever.
Yeah.
And coming up with like the custom design for these. I think originally it was probably the size of like a Coke can type hole. And after further thought and seeing a few just different like ideas sketched out, we decided on a much larger hole. And it wasn't for the sake of big or small. It was for like an area, a circumference. We want to be able to access more than just your dick, like a glory hole would be, right?
Mhm.
So we have a very large, I'm thinking I'm guessing about right how big this is. And you could two hands it in. She
Yeah.
could two hands it up. And so if you're not hanging all the way past the table,
Mhm.
there's still a good like 3, 4 inches of like the thickness of the actual like mattress
Right.
thing on the table itself, the wood, etc. And so her hands can be all up in there. I'm changing the light bulb, just doing all the things. or two girls and two hands could be
Yeah.
all up in there. But we wanted that space. We wanted to be able to still like caress the testicles and the pelvis area, or if he's sitting, still do some prostate play and stuff like that. So my answer to him was absolutely you're welcome. All the options are still available. I think the only difference compared to a guy with a lot of length would be the weighted feeling of like
Hmm.
the gravitational pull
Yeah.
when you hang down. But like that doesn't change the price of rice, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't change the
Hmm.
satisfaction factor or the still the like I can't see what's happening factor or like any of the thrill behind why we built the milking tables in the first place.
And
So good.
I think it's so sad to think like, I mean, men's ego or penis and ego are so closely related. Like, there's not many things. Actually, there is a few. I can think of like hairline, height that men really
Yes,
kind of judge themselves on. And I think they judge themselves harder than even us women do. Like, I know women can be a little picky sometimes with like a man's height, some women. But other than
right.
that, these are like stigmas you put on yourself, gentlemen. And to think you wouldn't be able to have pleasure in a massage parlor. First of all, any skilled sex worker knows how to deal with all penises, including like
Yes,
micro penises. And I mean, we've even created body slides that are specifically designed for the smaller gentleman. And I think, you
absolutely.
know, for, my last piece of advice is with this is go in, but lead with confidence because I think confidence is key for both male and females. And when you're not feeling confident, you're feeling insecure, you're setting yourself up for a bad experience. And go in leading with confidence. You're paying to play, so she is there to pleasure you, and she will make it work.
It's true. You know, as I was hearing you say that, I watch a lot of television, and a moment from Big Bang Theory popped into my head because it's in one of the earlier seasons, and it's a show about nerdy guys, right?
Right.
And they're learning about what women like, and they were talking about things like confidence. And one of the
Right.
guys, Raj, was like, "Why is it always confidence? I have so many other things." And it's hard to fake a confidence, but I agree when you're going into an environment like that, no different than let's say walking into a social environment like a strip club. You're not like, I wonder if I measure up. It's
Right.
just we see all kinds. My
Yeah.
very first training session was a micro penis, not planned. It just
Really.
so happened. But I remember that was part of why I was like a deer in headlights because as best as I tried to imagine what was going to happen, I micro penis never popped in my brain to
Right.
consider. I was thinking penis, just
Right.
regular, jagular penis. And I'm kind of glad that it happened the way it did because I learned so much in a split second.
Hmm.
And from there, it felt like the other stuff was kind of easy because now I know what
Right.
to do in a more unique situation, right? And yeah, we figured out body slides. We still did relative hand jobs, lots of hand play. In fact, some moves that you can't do on a larger penis because the
Hmm.
micro penis is just shaped so differently. No different than a smaller endowed guy is not going to have a two-handed hand job by someone who can afford a two-handed hand job, right?
Right.
Like it just depends. And everyone has a unique experience. You're walking into a place where penises come every single day. Visit and come every single day. The dad jokes are rich in this one. But like you are one of many when you come in. Listen, we like to treat everyone like they're very special and super unique. But in the same respects, you have a penis. You're
Hmm.
welcome. That's it. That's all there is to it, right? There's no like screening process and be like, if you had 2 more inches, then you could make it through the threshold. It's not a roller coaster,
No.
right? So I found a really funny article actually that I love because it's good. It might humble some of these egos that are worried about these
Hmm.
things.
Okay.
Humble in a good way. Humble in a good. What's the up from humble as opposed to like take it down a notch? Either way, it's we're going to properly measure our penis today, and we're going to learn how to do it because lo and behold, most people do it wrong, which is wild to think, right? Listen, I've measured a penis in my day as a young, woman. I like to know what I was messing with. I'd be like, can we measure it?
I have never
Turns
measured a
out,
penis ever.
never. I've absolutely measured, and I love measuring girth a lot more. But Okay, so let me kind of dive in because this article makes a few good points. I should add it's from Men's Health. Great
Yeah.
articles in Men's Health very often. All right, here we go. Okay, so there is a false notion often applied by men to enhance their masculinity that a bigger penis equals a manlier man. And that is absolutely untrue. I have met many a big dick pansy. I've met many a brazen small dick guy whose britches were too big for his mouth. So it just
Yeah.
depends. Just depends on how it goes. But when you're taking that on as like a piece of your identity, that's actually quite damaging to think. You're not less
Mhm.
manly. In
No.
fact, there's a sex historian that I follow on Facebook, and it was a couple weeks ago I saw a video. She was talking about a lot of the sculptures and stuff made in like Roman times and like historical figurines and the Statue of David and like some of those
Hmm.
notorious and famous figures that we all know, and why all of them are very, very minimally endowed. And it
Hmm.
wasn't that the artist didn't want to use more clay or take more time chiseling the
Right.
stone. It was that smaller penises were worshipped and honored more as being um, more fertile. And the
Really?
assumption, right? The assumption was, keep in mind, it's a bit of primitive medicine.
Hmm.
The assumption was that there's less distance for the sperm to travel from testicle out, and therefore he must be more fertile because the other guy who has a long distance marathon, those little swimmers might be tired or something by the time they get to where they need to go. Now, the flip of that is hilarious because in more modern thinking, and especially in a culture that tends to worship big dick, sometimes in a false pretense. We'll get into measurements soon, but like the opposite thinking could be, well, isn't it a more direct and closer
Yeah.
insertion to the uterus? And yet, common sense in modern medicine tell us that none of those things are fucking true. There's no more or less fertility based on dick size. That's crazy. And it is crazy once you think of
Yeah.
the logical brain. But yeah, back then they worshiped the small ones. The small ones were considered the most fertile, therefore the most powerful, the most
Hmm.
manly. And so that's why all those statues have small penises instead of a big schlong just hanging there in
Hmm.
the middle of the art gallery. It's wild what humans make up in their minds is like reasoning, right?
I just don't know why humans in general think with anything bigger is better. Like, I mean,
Seriously.
we've gone over many times, and I think it's common knowledge at this point. A bigger dick does not make for a better sexual experience. I mean, big dick can give a good sexual experience, but it depends on the person using it, their skills, and all the different factors. But yeah, I think as a society, we just always think, and especially men, when it comes to their own bodies, bigger is better, more hair is better, like, you
Right.
know, taller, all the things, except when it
It's
comes to
true.
weight.
Right. And it doesn't change your legacy. Like I
Right.
get the old, probably old school, like old world thinking of I need to carry on
Hmm.
my seed, my DNA, my family name, my empire, my whatever you are. But if anyone stopped and looked at the facts, whether it was between all the elites or the laymen and the villagers too, were all the big dick guys struggling to make babies?
No.
No, probably not, right? And like listen, there was lack of modern medicine back then. So people died, including babies, of all kinds of things. You were more likely to die of malaria and like
Right.
polio and all kinds of different stuff. And so was that really the main concern? Was it really like, your dick's too big? If not, we'd have 6 kids instead. Like I just get it. And right now, it's not like big dick guy. Well, Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon kind of takes that. He's a beast of his own accord, right? That man wanted an entire litter and he made it. But his penis size is just notorious. It's not why he has more
Right.
children. That's just hilarious and crazy. But that leads me to thinking about what we consider big and
Hmm.
therefore how we measure big. And
Yeah.
we've got a couple videos, but we've got a staff story too on this one that is the women's flip version, right?
Yeah.
You want to tell them about what happened recently? Because it's really funny, actually.
It is good. But you know what? Let's watch these videos first because I think
Okay,
it will
cool.
give you kind of a perspective of what we're talking about of measuring size and misconceptions when it comes to
Hmm.
size.
We all think we know till we don't, right?
Mhm. These are
Let's
both
catch them
from
on.
TikTok. They're short and they're funny, so take a look, guys.
Perfect. We'll see you in a sec.
Hello, John. Can you please pull out 6 inches without looking? Ooh.
Ooh, 7, huh?
Tell everybody. Damn right.
There.
Yeah, because this is right there. Oh, dang. Well, I mean, I'm just going by what I'm working with, so.
Pull out 7.
6 inches. Oh. There we go. Ooh, 7.
All right. I'm going to stop. Don't ask me how I know that.
Okay, show me 4 inches. That was pretty close.
Okay.
Callie, show me 5 inches.
There.
Dang. Oh! Kendra, show me 8 inches. Right there?
Yeah. No. Like that.
Okay.
Dang!
Hey, Lydia, show me 2 inches.
Right there.
What am I doing?
Show me 6 inches.
Yeah. I'll show you 6 inches.
I'm keeping that in.
Right there.
Oh!
Damn!
Okay, show me 3 inches.
She's here as a client right
I know, my finish is done.
Right there?
here. Is she almost done?
That was pretty good. Okay, show me 7 inches. Dang. That was good.
Part 2, I think I can do this better now. Okay, go.
Okay, 9 inches.
Okay. There. Okay, all right.
Okay, 5 inches.
Mm-hmm. There.
Oh, right there. That's 5. That's 5 inches. That's 5 inches. Yeah.
Last one.
11.
11?
No, 12.
12.
12. 1 foot.
There.
Ooh,
Oh, that looks a little
that's
long.
like pushing 13.
7 3/4 long, 6 around. I can get behind this. That's big, but like I can get behind that. But that 6 is crazy. Where am I supposed to fit that?
So this is what we mean. What we think we know, we don't know. What you're guessing on and adding your whole entire value around might actually be off by like a good 2 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be worse. Riley, fill us in.
Listen, it is a problem for women that women walk around the world for most of their life not really understanding how big their boobs are, and we cram ourselves into these bras every day, and whatever discomfort we feel, we just chalk that up to normal.
It's a
But
bra.
once in a while, someone goes for a proper bra fitting, and every single time that said person will leave floored. And that happened this week with one of our staff who's very well endowed, very. And I don't know what she measured previous to her fitting, but she went for a proper bra fitting and was floored, so much so that we had to obviously change her stats on the website. She's a J, guys.
Yeah. She thought she was a double D. She thought she was a double D. Listen, you have full boobs. I have large implants. And this girl could put us both out of business,
Oh, for
doubled
sure.
and smushed together. And this girl thought she was a double D. I'm a triple D. And that's me still squishing into what I shouldn't really be wearing. But she walked into La
Yeah.
Senza or Victoria's Secret, just like, what do you got for me? And they were like, nothing.
But I think big boobs to women, the standard we all go to is double D. I don't know why.
Yes.
It's just ingrained in us that that's what big boobs means. But that doesn't mean that's all big boobs. And this poor girl, I'm so happy that she's properly fitted. I'm so happy that
Right.
our website accurately just describes her breasts because she is going to be busy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
say.
If you're into big naturals, she is your girl. But
Yeah.
her shock and awe lasted for days. I heard from front desk, I heard from other girls, like, did you hear?
Yep.
It was talk of the town. Twitter blew up when we posted about it too. It was absolutely hilarious to me. But to her, she was like, my whole life's been a lie. Kinda. But same with the measurements with the dudes, right? Like
Mhm.
you might be thinking you're watching a porno or something, you're like, oh my God, that guy's like a 12-inch penis.
Yeah.
And it's completely inaccurate. Or you might thinking you're small, and meanwhile, you're smack dab in the middle of average of
Yeah.
what the actual sizes are. Like if you're walking around with 6 something, I'm sorry, sir, but you don't have a small penis.
Mhm.
Small penises are normally defined as under 4 inches when fully erect, like your
Right.
best erection erect. And I think that the measuring tape is so perfect because we're talking about there's certain people in the world that just know their measurements, right? If you're a
Mhm.
contractor, a carpenter, and most people in construction, and then the hairdressers are perfect too, because you're like, I just a little trim. And then
Right.
some bitch goes and cuts a chunk off, and you're like, well, my 2 inches is this, and her 2 inches was, well, now we have the big dick problem, don't we?
Yeah. It's so funny. So
It's hilarious. Again, humans are so funny on what we kind of do to ourselves. Like,
well, and
again, his whole life could have been a lie.
yeah. And I will say listen, there are some ladies that definitely are big dick hunters. But I will say for the most part, there's tons of women that at first glance they won't look at a penis and say, "Ooh, that's too small. I don't know what to do with it." They may say, I wonder what his skills are or how this is going to feel." But there is plenty of women that will see a big girthy penis and back right out. And that would be me. I would be scared.
Just gonna call you out on your own shit right there because I'm like, and you are one of them.
Yes, I would be terrified
You're
and I'd be like,
terrified.
"Excuse me, sir, I need to leave."
See, I'm not a big dick hunter. I've just kind of like, it's just happened that way a lot of times. But
Yeah.
one of my besties, it calls me the penis whisperer because I'm able to guess very, 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 very accurately, very, very, very often. And I can pick out a large penis in what a man thinks is a camouflaged outfit very easily. And it's
Right.
hilarious.
Hey guys, where have you been? No, I'm just kidding. It's where have I been? You guys have been here watching Deep Throat with Emily, and we've been loving this every Sunday night. But welcome back to Just the Tip. I've got some stuff for you tonight, guys. So let's go. Let's take a peek through the partition and look at the sultry secrets of glory holes. So let's imagine together a dark, shadowy wall with a perfectly placed hole with temptation and unknown right on the other side. So let's take a walk together, you guys. You and me, we're gonna go behind the wall. Buckle up. Actually, you know what? Better yet, unzip, because tonight is all about embracing glory. The history of glory holes date back to ancient Roman times. Gladiators loved to play and overindulge after conquering empires. Glory holes were in dimly lit chambers with a carved stone partition, again a perfectly placed hole, where anonymity was the ultimate aphrodisiac. By the 1st century AD in Rome, there was over 900 public bathhouses. Romans loved this. It was all about freedom and power dynamics. Isn't it always? In a society obsessed with status, glory holes were the greatest equalizer. But listen, Rome fell, and the glory hole legend has only grown hotter. So basically, glory holes have existed from like the beginning of the time until now. And what is it about the unknown of glory holes that has everyone so intrigued? Well, people's intrigue stems from a mixture of psychological, social, and cultural factors. So what is it about glory holes? It's the thrill of taboo, the anonymity, novelty and dopamine spikes, subcultural mystique, and detachment from personal identity.
If this tip isn't enough, subscribe to Patreon for the whole thing.
So maybe that's why I've ended up with many partners that have been well endowed. But when I would then take my personal sex life stories and be like, Riley, guess what I did yesterday? You were always like, just so funny to me.
I think it's absolutely terrifying. But I can imagine, listen, imagine having bad sex with a really big dick. Like that's just not pleasurable and painful. No, thank you.
Listen, I completely agree. I'm not saying some of the ones I've had didn't hurt like oh hell. I mean, there's good hurt and there's definitely bad hurt. And yeah, just like wearing a shitty bra, we grin and bear it.
Right.
We bite on a pillow, we bite through our own fucking lip, and then we limp for 4 days. Then some reason answer the phone when he calls again. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'd like to think in my big old age I would not be that silly anymore. And I'd be like, no, we're just not physically compatible.
Right.
I think that's what it is for you too. It's the physicality of it that scares the shit out of you. Whereas like I personally don't find the huge ginormous ones look as nice in a picture. It's scary in a picture. A nice medium is perfect in a picture. And I have some other good friends that literally swear by small and schmedium. Literally, they're like hashtag team schmedium all the way and would never get near anything more than 6 inches. And then I have friends that are like, oh, if it's not 9 plus, then blah, blah. And I'm like, well, fine, good luck. You need my radar to find it. Pay for my drinks when we're out. Hilarious. So I will never forget how afraid your face gets. Dick.
I just gotta go.
A couple glasses of wine, and guys, I'm sure you can imagine how that conversation goes because it's absolutely hysterical. I love you, Riley. Funny. Okay, so let's go on with this lovely article. The harsh truth, this article says, is that most people with sexual partners with a big dick will often say that size doesn't matter. And then men that are less endowed will argue that point. Most people aren't looking for someone who's super hung, however. They're looking for someone who knows how to please their partner. And that's when less endowed men come in clutch, which makes sense. They definitely have more skills most of the time. And you know what? If you watch enough porn, you can often see that there is a certain limit to big on how much blood can go from the body into one centralized area and still maintain his full erection.
Yeah.
Most guys with big dick have to grip on at the bottom really tight with a full fist, which means there's that much flaccid that they're squeezing just to get the rest to be fully engorged. And then they have sex like that. And I will tell you, as someone who's been with someone like that before too, what's hitting you is the fist. And so regardless of how big his dick is and all the hype and the fanfare about it, you're getting punched in the cooch.
Right.
But a dick that can't stay hard. It's terrible. And then trying to do oral things with it or a hand job, God forbid. It's the floppy. It's like that thing. It's at like the car sales shops, the floaty arms. Like it's flailing all over the fucking place. And there's so like no control. It completely lacks control.
Oh.
Hilarious, right? All right, so let's get on to how we actually measure our penis because there's some myths in here, like some places where you might miss some things. So the first thing you want to do is use a soft tape measure. Don't grab the school ruler.
Right.
Even if you're just doing the length, you need a little more accuracy. The soft one will absolutely help you. The other thing you want to do is start measuring at your pelvic bone. And so for our dad bod fellas, that might mean you got to lift your belly a little bit and squish it back just to get there because there's a good inch of your dick that's hiding there. And then measure right to the tip. Foreskin doesn't count. If you have a little extra something at the end, that doesn't give you an inch. Although some men would argue with me to their death about that. But you're literally going from pubic bone to the very tip of the penis. Straight up, no detours, no extras.
Right.
Don't suck it in. You don't have to exhale. You don't have to flex. You don't have to do anything. Just do that. And that should be your good starting point. The reason why you want to use a soft tape measure is partially for safety because the other ones can be a little sharp and pokey.
Yeah.
But because you're trying to get right at the pubic bone, you need to be able, I used to have a tape measure on this little table with me here. You know, a soft, like, like a sewing tape measure has that little metal piece at the end that you can put flat right on your skin, and you're getting the absolute perfect
Right.
zero starting with. Whereas with a hard ruler has a little bit of something that isn't part of the measurements. So you're cheating. Can't cheat. You need to get a soft one. You need to put that little metal piece flat against your pelvic bone and then measure all the way out. And you want to completely roll the tape measure out to the head of the glans, which is the tip of the penis. It says here in big capital letters, foreskin does not count. It's so funny that it's yelling that in the article. So when you're doing girth, same thing. Obviously, you need a soft tape measure for that one. And you want to do it at the girthiest point of your penis. And so for men, that could vary. Some people are super wide at the base and it kind of tapers. Some people it goes up and then it does this bulge thing before you get to the head. Some people right at the top is where like the weight and the heft of it comes from. You know your own dick the best. Find the girthiest point or ask your partner or your favorite sex worker to do it for you. And that's where you measure your girth. Because if you're trying to think mathematically what fits in what circle, you need to know the widest point. Otherwise, your truck's not getting through the tunnel, right? So you need to do it properly. And so this way you will have your length and girth completely measured accurately. You will know it to the millimeter. And for those not on the metric system, sorry, American citizens, you're going to have to convert that.
You know what I find funny though is, as much as I was saying, you know, be confident and be, you know, have pride in yourself. On the other flip side of that, there is definitely, especially now with like online sex work culture, there is a lot of men asking for penis ratings or penis reviews. And I think the greater majority of them like being degraded in that. Like they want to be talked down to or to be made fun of or humiliated. And I think, to me, it's shocking how many actually want to participate in that.
You know what? I mean, it is shocking. And yet, if I think deeper, I would, how much do I want to reveal about myself at the moment? In my personal submissive fantasies and wish list and all the things, there is a bit of degradation and humiliation that comes into it. I definitely want to be told I'm all the dirty, naughty things that I might not be in regular life, right? And do I want it to go right to the point of you're worthless and you're like, where you're really just chipping at my self-esteem now? No. But for others, yes. As with many things, the more intense or the more boundary pushing, the more thrilling it gets. Maybe you started off with someone being like, it's okay. And you got a little tingle from that. And now 3 years later, you're down the whole like rabbit hole of like, that'll never satisfy anyone. You're no good at all. Like it can go really far, but you're right. Most of the, listen, this happens even in Instagram DMs. They're like, want to rate it? And then they send you a picture. First of all, no, not for free. But if you pay me well, I will. Otherwise, I'm not looking at your stupid penis because I don't know you, sir, in the DMs. Anyways, I've noticed from those circumstances, which is a very small study group, it's not always guys with small penises that want the small penis humiliation. Sometimes it's well endowed guys. Sometimes it's larger than average guys that are like, tell me it's small. I'm like, you are an interesting psychology case. You're interweaving a few things together that normally shouldn't, like oil and water go together. And somehow this dude's made salad dressing. Like it's crazy to me on the mix and match. But it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone with a micro penis wants to be told, ha, 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 you look at your little dick, right? They might be like, lie to me and tell me I'm the king. I'd be like, baby, you're the biggest I ever saw. But it just depends. But it is such a perfect reflection of how we as society make these certain like rules or these certain like constructs. And then how sex and kink smashes all that stigma. And it's like, yeah, well, I have a 12-inch dick. Tell me how little it is. Please, mommy. Suddenly we're there. I'm like, whoa, not what I expected. I would have expected King Kong to come in and be like, call me daddy. And instead he's like, it's tiny. And it's this whole other vibe. And yeah, here we are. It's wild to me.
Very interesting.
The world of sex is such an interesting thing. So I
Mm-hmm.
want all of our listeners to literally find a soft tape measure and do up those measurements. I want to see. Here's some homework, boys. This is what I would love. You're actually going to listen to everything Emily tells you, which could be really fun. I want you to first take a piece of paper and write down what you think your measurements are.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Then I want you to actually measure them and then put those two little bad boys together. Take a nice little screenshot and send that to our DMs. I'll definitely rate that for you. But
like
I'd
that
love to
challenge.
see the drastic difference. Are you walking into, Victoria's Secrets thinking you're a double D and walking out a J?
Yep.
Or are you suddenly thinking you're like this tiny, tiny guy and you fall right in the middle of average? Or did you think you had this big ass horse dick and all of a sudden you're like, oh, 8.5. Okay. Like, all right, let's humble some people. Let's boost some people up that need it. But let's also see that contrast because it will blow some minds. I'm absolutely positive.
Yeah, I agree. Good
Sex
challenge, Emily.
homework. Lots of sex homework. It's so good. This is fun. I'm expecting all of you to submit it within a week of this episode launching.
You boys have homework.
There you go. We might dress up a little dominant for Halloween this year. I feel like it's a mood. Here we all are dipping into fall. Anyways, I think that's kind of all I've got to say about big penises, little penises, and everything in between. What about you, Riley?
That's it for me, but they are all welcome at Muse. Everyone can use the milking table. Just leave you with that thought.
Absolutely. And come get milked. Does the body good. All right, guys, we will see you next time on Muse on the Mic. My cheeks hurt. We got to wrap this one up. See you next time.